Did the Golden State Warriors pull off highway robbery again? Did Mike Dunleavy do it again? We're going to talk about that on today's show as the Warriors found themselves with an unlikely hero in their comeback win versus the New Orleans Pelicans last night. And if you're proud of your Golden State Warriors for that massive comeback win, down 20 early in the second quarter, win the game by 18, clap it up for your Golden State Warriors. Give me some GSWs down in the comment section. We'll talk about the highway robbery that Golden State pulled off on today's show. What's going on, Dub Nation? You're watching Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Tyler Smith, and if you watched last night's game, you probably knew where I was going with this. Highway robbery for the Golden State Warriors by getting Lindy Waters III and putting him in the lineup as he was the unlikely hero for Golden State last night. He might have earned himself a rotation spot. He might have snatched himself a rotation spot as he dominated last night. Look at the line that Lindy Waters III pulled up. Actually, funny note here. Lindy Waters III was one of only 2 Warriors so far this year to play 30 minutes in a game. So the Warriors trusted him with a lot of responsibility last night in a close-knit game from basically halftime all the way to the end of the fourth quarter where the Warriors kind of pulled away. 21 points for Lindy Waters. 8 boards. 5 of those came in the second quarter where 3 of them were offensive, getting the Warriors extra possessions. 4 assists on the night. He's moving the basketball. He's also moving without the basketball to find himself open shots, and that's what he got last night. 8 of 13 from the field, 3 of 7 from deep. Lindy Waters III was awesome last night. He was truly the spark that ignited this Warriors comeback. He was inserted into the game with 3 minutes left in the first quarter, where he missed his first shot and kind of needed a little bit of time to get adjusted to the game, but oh, man, from the second quarter on, Lindy Waters was on fire. He had a game-high 26, a plus 26 on the game, and unbelievable effort from Lindy Waters III. I mean, talk about taking your opportunity and making the most of it. He subbed him in with 3 minutes left in the first quarter, missed his first shot. Second quarter comes along, and he's a completely different player. He seems fully comfortable. He's hitting open shots. He's getting to the rim. He's defending at a high level, and he's moving constantly within this Warriors offense, which is something that, we need these players to do. If the Warriors want to play the way that Steve Kerr wants them to play this year, which is getting up a ton of three-pointers, then a guy like Lindy Waters is going to be incredibly valuable in a lineup like this, especially with Steph Curry and DeAnthony Melton still out of the lineup. And once Lindy Waters was inserted into the game, and I took this all the way from the first quarter. I could have taken it from the second quarter where this margin would have even been higher. The Warriors won the rest of the game by 27 once Lindy Waters was subbed into the game. I mean, you want to talk about team MVP? I know he didn't score. I know he didn't lead the team in scoring last night. We'll talk about that guy in just a little bit. Shout out Buddy Hield. But Lindy Waters III, he might have just said, I am in this Warriors rotation permanently moving forward. Here's what he had to say about his performance last night. He said, it always feels good. I came in and do the work every single day. I come in and do the work every single day, no matter if my number's called or not. I'm the same person. But it feels good to go out there and get a win, especially how we started out. We just kept our eyes off the scoreboard and focused possession by possession. Lindy Waters III, which he didn't even talk about his performance there in that quote. He didn't even talk about how he lit it up from deep range. He didn't talk about how he kind of clawed the Warriors back into this game. He talked about the team. He talked about going out there, not looking at the scoreboard, not paying attention to that, and just playing possession by possession as a unit. He affected the games in more ways than one last night. Like I said before, he had 3 offensive rebounds there in the second quarter, really trying to get this Golden State Warriors team more possessions, just trying to get up more shots, because that's what the NBA has become, right? It's become a math problem. You got to get up a high volume of shots, and particularly a high volume of three-pointers. Now, not only on the offensive end, it was where Lindy Waters III was making an impact. Talk about when the Pelicans were kind of trying to make a run there at the end of the game. Warriors were up like a little over 10, and the Pelicans kind of cut it to 9, maybe even 8. And Lindy Waters III, when New Orleans had a fast break attempt, Lindy got back in transition, went up to contest the shot, and it forced a miss, which could have made this game, a 3-possession game, a 2-possession game. Warriors never had a problem with that afterwards. So with that being said, did Lindy Waters III earn himself a rotation spot last night after lighting it up for Golden State against the Pelicans? This will be the pinned comment today's video. Go down below, answer it in the comment section when YouTube hits you with that ad break by typing Y for yes or typing N for no on whether or not Lindy Waters III earned himself a rotation spot. I think he did. I think he absolutely did. Back in June and back in over the offseason, Mike Dunleavy and Steve Kerr had high praise for Lindy Waters III. And with the injuries that the Warriors have at this moment, Steph Curry, DeAnthony Melton, 2 of their most impactful members of that backcourt, this is going to be good sledding for Lindy Waters over the next couple of games. I mean, he's going to have an opportunity to continue to build upon this performance, and even when these guys come back, still be in the rotation for Steve Kerr, which we know is a total problem right now. It's a good problem, but it's a total problem right now. It's 12 guys who are totally playable, and Steve Kerr just got himself another one after he said originally that Lindy Waters III would not be in the rotation. Get faced with a couple injuries, well, he takes the opportunity and seizes it, and that's what Lindy Waters is about, right? Like, he exemplifies what this team is about. Golden State, we know, all offseason long, I was pushing specifically to go out there and get a second star. They didn't do it. They decided to go the depth route after those deals weren't really worth it to them. And what do you have now? A bunch of guys who want to go out there and win. It's kind of like a baseball team for me with the Warriors. And some guys aren't going to play some nights. It's going to be very situational. And these guys got to set their egos aside, like Steph Curry said before the season, and just focus on the task at hand. And that's stacking wins. That's contending in the Western Conference. The Warriors are 3-1 now, baby. Let's go. I'm absolutely fired up about Lindy Waters. We're going to talk about him more in just a second. Also, we're going to talk about the leading scorer, like I said before, Buddy Hield, the splash buddy. He went off, especially in that second half after a cold start to the game. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor. That is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports platform with over 10 million active members. And you can get started with a free $50 in your account when you place a $5 entry using our code CLNS. How do you play an entry? You just pick 2 to 6 player stat projections and just click more or less. And watch the winnings roll in right after that. You can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. They invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out your lineup if it isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. PrizePicks puts their members first, and I know this firsthand. I've been a PrizePicks customer since day one, before they were even a sponsor here at Chat Sports. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money as quick as 15 minutes. Now, I play PrizePicks almost every day. I'm playing it tonight again. Now, they didn't have the Warriors stats up there just yet. I'm sure that'll come later in the day, and I'll probably throw a PrizePicks for that late game against the Pels later. But I, tonight, have Jaden Ivey. This is very surgical. Everything's 1.5. It's going to be do or die on this PrizePicks entry. Jaden Ivey, less than 1.5 3-pointers made. Drew Holiday, more than 1.5 blocks plus steals against the Pacers, who he defends at a very high level. And then Juan Soto in the World Series, Yankees, backs against the wall. Give me more than 1.5 total bases. I think he could put one out of the park tonight. You can take my picks. You can fade my picks. Just make sure you go and do it at PrizePicks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS for a first $50 when you place your first $5 entry. PrizePicks. Run your game. So back to Lindy Waters a little bit. Steve Kerr, before the game against the Los Angeles Clippers, where the Warriors fell on their only loss of the season so far, he said that he has no problem even starting Lindy Waters III. He says he has that much confidence in him. Now, he didn't go that far in this Pelicans game that we won last night, but Steve Kerr seems pretty comfortable with Lindy Waters in the lineup. Here's more of what Kerr had to say after last night's game. He said, "I've said it since day one of camp. This guy's a ball player. The game flows when he's out there. It's not just because he's a good shooter. It's the shots that he doesn't take because of his patience. It's the cuts he makes to the basket. It's getting in the fight defensively. Couldn't get him out there until tonight, and he's going to make his case for more playing time." I'm fired up, man. I like, this is a guy who, we didn't expect much of way back when Golden State traded for him. And we're going to talk about how much of a highway robbery that was in just a moment. But back in June when this trade was made, Dunleavy said that Lindy Waters III is a plug-and-play guy. What did they do last night? They plugged and played him, and he made the most of his opportunity. And like I just mentioned, remember how the Warriors acquired Lindy Waters III? I think this might go under the radar for a lot of people, but, I mean, when you talk about the value that he put up in just one game, I think this is already worth it. I mean, look at this deal that OKC and Golden State made way back when. Lindy Waters III for a second-round pick, the 52 overall pick. And if you guys remember, they still ended up getting this 52 overall pick back. So essentially, all they did was get Lindy Waters III for cash. They traded cash to the Portland Trailblazers to get that number 52 overall pick back. Let's go. Like, how do you find a better deal than this? How do you find a better deal than this? And it's crazy because OKC valued Lindy Waters III very highly. Didn't get the value back they probably wanted for him because he just didn't have the production, didn't have the volume, and didn't really have a spot in their rotation consistently. According to Anthony Slater of The Athletic, Oklahoma City loves Lindy Waters III. They didn't want to lose him. And it's unfortunate now that they're seeing him thrive in another area. But with the first-round pick plethora that they have and all the young talent and so many talented players already in the rotation right now, plus the free agent additions that they made. There just wasn't room for Lindy Waters III in the rotation, but there certainly is in Golden State's, and he's making the most of it right now. Speaking of, his own teammate Buddy Hield said, when opportunity knocks, he answers. And my favorite quote last night before we get into this last big one from Lindy Waters III is, he said, I always got a strap. I can wake up and shoot it no matter if I play or not. That's a dog. That's a dog, and that's something that we need on this Warriors roster. Steve Kerr mentioned the fight defensively. He's going to give it on both ends of the floor and hit shots from outside. Lindy Waters III has to play in this lineup. Here's more of what Lindy had to say about his play and spot in the rotation. He said, I can't be greedy and have a bad attitude coming in. Whether I get playing time or not, I'm going to be the same person every day. I'm going to always have a smile on my face and encourage my teammates. Whatever my role is, I'll accept it. I just want the team to win. Just always stay ready. That's my mentality. Shout out to Lindy Waters III, man. He is checking all the boxes for Warriors fans as a potential fan favorite early on in this season. Now, on the other hand, let's get to the real leading scorer from last night. Splash Buddy Hield. After starting, I believe, 1 for 8 and 1 for 5 from three-point range, Buddy Hield let it rain in that second half. 25 second half points for Buddy Hield, finishing with 28, had 2 steals. He was fighting defensively. He was blown by defenders. Not all of his shots were threes, as you can tell. He got to the rim. He got to the free throw line where he shot 3 of 3. Unbelievable effort out of Buddy Hield after he started super cold. I think he hit his last 6 3-point attempts of the game, if I remember correctly. He started 1 of 5, finished 7 of 11. 6 of 6 to end the game, and he could not miss in that fourth quarter. 19 fourth quarter points for Buddy Hield. But what did we learn here? I don't really think I learned anything from that performance. This is nothing new from Buddy Hield. And we knew from the first game that he played this season against the Portland Trail Blazers. He fits this offense like a glove. Constantly moving, running off screens. They're running actions for Buddy Hield. And he has a quick trigger. He's not afraid to let it fly, especially with Steph Curry and Anthony Melton out. He is phenomenal. And Twitter was going nuts for Buddy Hield last night. I remember I see this picture of the Buddy Hield life cycle for all the teams that have had him before. And then somebody just edited it all out. And every cycle just said balls out for Buddy Hield. He is awesome. And I know later in the season, things could come about where he isn't the best defender or he goes ice cold. And in those situations, he's probably unplayable. But when he is hot and when he is exerting 110% effort on defense, Buddy Hield is as key of a player in this Warriors roster as anybody outside of Steph Curry. Now, with Buddy Hield's performance, he hit 7 threes, shot 11 of them. Golden State got up 46 attempts last night. That has been their mantra. That has been what Steve Kerr has been preaching all season long. They have to be a high-volume three-point team. Saw the Boston Celtics win a championship like that last year. Golden State has built a roster now where they can run 5 out in certain situations, and every player on the floor is a threat from outside. That can't be said about the New Orleans Pelicans, who only got up 22 three-point attempts. The Warriors made as many threes as New Orleans attempted. You're more than likely going to win many games doing with that formula. New Orleans will probably have to get up more next tonight when they play again. But enough about Buddy Hield. Enough about Lindy Waters. Before I go, I got to give one more set of props. And am I happy to give these props? Yes, because he performed at a good level last night. But I want to see more of this type of play from Jonathan Kuminga. Last night against New Orleans, nothing too flashy on the stat sheet. 17 points on 6 of 13 from the field. He was not particularly good from three-point range. I believe it was 1 of 3 or 1 of 4. But not necessarily impactful in the rebounding category either. He was getting out in transition, which helps. He boxes out and then gets out in transition so the Warriors can get a quick bucket. 3 assists, not bad for Kuminga as well. But 3 stocks was fantastic. 2 steals, 1 block. I was very happy with what I saw from Jonathan Kuminga last night because he wasn't really forcing the issue. And when Steve Kerr puts him on the bench like he did, that probably sends a message to Jonathan Kuminga that I got to let the game come to me. I got to let my game be one that other people set up. Think about a guy like Aaron Gordon, right? He doesn't get a ton of looks pounding the rock, sizing defenders up and taking guys off the dribble or hitting creative jump shots. That's not what Aaron Gordon's game is. Jonathan Kuminga should try to emulate kind of that style of play. He should be someone who looks to get lobs. He looks to cut to the basket, who doesn't try to do too much with the ball in his hands. Doing that might not get you $55 million a year that you're asking for, but it will get you back to the $30 million the Warriors were willing to give you that they might not have been after the first 3 games of the season. Got to let the shots come to him. Got to let the shots come to him, and if he's playing elite defense, then I am all in on Jonathan Kuminga, but we got to see more. Got to see a little bit more before I'm all back in on the Kuminga train. I know I had a huge rant for him yesterday. Not all the way back yet. Good performance, on the right track, need to see more. Grade the performance of the Warriors against New Orleans Pelicans last night. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know down in the comment section before they play once again tonight on a back-to-back back in the Chase Center. And before we go, make sure you are following me on Twitter, at Smitty, at CS. I was live tweeting the game last night. I tweet the Warriors news before I even bring you guys a video, so that'll always be the first place that you hear Warriors news and rumors. And also make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're bringing you Golden State Warriors content like nobody else on YouTube every single day. So make sure you are subscribed, youtube.com/WarriorsTV. We'll see you in the next one. Let's go Dubs.